Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to another episode of Trudge Report. This is a recovery-based podcast, but don't worry, if you're not sober or not ready to be sober, we talk about plenty of other things, including sports, trending topics, and a good bit of nonsense, and especially Corey's attitude. My name is Sean, and I am your host. I'm joined by my good friends and fellow trudgers. Please remember to listen on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Our videos will still be posted each week, so you can watch episodes on YouTube and Facebook. But as always, please be sure to download on your listening platforms. Remember to like and subscribe on all social media outlets with the handle @TrudgeReportPod. We are brought to you by Stella Mix Podcast Management and our wonderful producer and editor, Miss Janine Stella. Gentlemen, good evening. Welcome back. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope everybody's doing good. Greg, you have for those of watching this episode, Greg has a very fancy shirt on. Greg, how are you this evening?
I'm feeling good, man. This is my cat fireworks shirt. It's one of my
cat firework is what he said, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep, cats and fireworks and goddamn America all over this shirt. So I love it. This is one of my prized possessions. Picked this bad boy up at Goodwill. Yeah, man, doing good. Had another fabulous weekend. I do want to report that initially, I don't want to say I was dragged into it, but I was given the option of whether or not I wanted to go with my girlfriend and her son, and then some of her son's friends and another mom to go see Lilo and Stitch. I had never previously seen the first Lilo and Stitch, so I wasn't sure what to expect. Not a bad movie.
Right?
Not a bad movie.
All things considered, yeah.
All things considered. Now, I do, in a moment, I want to get you guys' take on something else, but I will say pretty good, heartfelt, kind of funny. Love Zach Galifianakis in a movie. I thought it was all good. I didn't cry. Not everybody that was with me didn't cry, but I cried. Cry. But I will say this, whatever little line the thing says at the end of the movie that's like, this is my family. They're broken, but they're still very good, or they're still good, or something like that was, Ohana. I mean, of course, yeah, Ohana. Ohana means family, right? So, but a good story. I do want to know what you guys think about, like, what is up with the Disney, and we're just remaking all of these films.
They run out of ideas.
Real actors. It's so sad. It's like, yeah, in a day and time where we could just be doing all kinds of cool stuff, and the technology is so much better than it ever was, and it's like, instead of coming up with new ideas, and this is really Hollywood as a whole, but certainly with Disney, it's like you're like shot for shot remaking your films instead of just coming up with new stuff. And I was talking with my girlfriend about it the other day. Is it because kids don't gravitate as much towards like traditional cartoons like we all did, or like what's the deal? But like, to me, like, Lilo and Stitch was a first for me because I have never seen any of those other. I haven't seen The Lion King with real lions. I haven't seen the woke Snow White. I haven't seen Beauty and the Beast with Hermione Granger, and I haven't even seen Aladdin with Will Smith. So I refuse to, because why would I need to when I can just go back and watch all those old classics? So
I will say that Beauty and the Beast with Hermione over there, that was really good, and also, Mufasa. Did you see Mufasa?
No.
It was good, dude. That
was James Earl Jones in it, or was he dead already?
I think he was dead already.
Well, then I don't want to see it.
Yeah. Then I got no room for it in my life.
Nope. Get it out.
I will say that, like, Disney and it's mostly Pixar, but like Disney and Pixar, I think they actually split a couple years ago. They're not Disney and Pixar anymore, but that's irrelevant of my point. My point is, they're coming out with some really weird shit these days in terms of movies, like really weird stuff that I just don't, I don't know if I really want my kids watching, to be honest with you. Lilo and Stitch was cool. Lilo and Stitch was, talked about it. Like, I didn't hear any or see any like inappropriate messaging or political crap or wokeism in it. I thought it was a good movie.
Clearly about immigration, but whatever.
I mean, maybe, but it was also It was also close to my heart. I don't think so, Corey. I was also close to my heart because like they were dealing with like the child welfare system and all that stuff. So like some of that stuff was like yeah, that
I will say
that really
this.
happens.
Some stuff doesn't translate as well into real life characters as well. Like you take a look at this secret agent man, and his name is Cobra Bubbles or something.
That
like
was that was a little
Cobra Bubbles.
He might have been a little
Secret agent.
fabulous.
Yeah, maybe.
But that's Courtney B. Vance, dude, from Law and Order, Criminal Intent. Like he's legit.
He's that guy. He's that guy.
He is that guy.
Criminal Intent.
ADA Carver, dude. ADA
man.
Carver. But no, it was good. Very cool. Bill, what's going on your end, bud? How's everything? You're on mute, by the way.
I'm doing almost as good as I was an hour ago, and even better, maybe. I can't even tell. And
Who could say?
Who
could say?
I actually saw Lilo and Stitch this week too with my daughter. We also went down to the zoo to the lemur exhibit.
Ooh.
She got to play with the lemurs. That was cool. And it was
like
a place
actually
called,
play with.
Yeah. She did the interactive one where she went in there and they brought all the lemurs out. They were jumping on her and stuff.
What did you think of Lilo and Stitch?
Lilo and Stitch, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch most of it. I sat there, my body was there, but my mind, no, it wasn't really there. Oh, my daughter's right there. I'm busted. So yeah,
Don't
it was
listen to
great.
him, Avia.
It was great. It was a fantastic movie. It's my daughter's actual favorite characters are Lilo and Stitch because their backpack, their pajamas, their everything is Lilo and Stitch. So I'll let her say hi real quick because she wants to. Real quick.
Hi.
All right. So it was fantastic.
Now get out of here, kid. No, I'm just kidding.
We had a great time. Yesterday we had a great time too. This place is called Jungle Island in Miami. It's like a little island. Literally the whole island, most of the island is this place, and it's all canopy covered. And there's parrots, there's lizards, turtles. There's all sorts of like cool stuff. And then, like I said, she got to go into their interactive lemur exhibit. They also have like the baby kangaroos you could go with, or the capybaras. It's all an add-on items, but it was a lot of fun. So place is really cool. I like that there's a canopy and you do not need to worry so much about the heat. Sean, what's so funny?
My wife just walked in the room to get her purse, and as she was leaving, she flicked me off.
Very romantic.
Sean's
Father's Day
laughing.
is coming up.
Sean's laughing, and she was dead serious.
Sorry, Bill. She thinks it's for anybody who's going to future listen to this podcast. I wasn't laughing inappropriately at anything serious that I shouldn't have been laughing at. Okay.
No worries. That's okay. So yeah, that was a good time.
Very cool. Very good.
Yeah.
I don't even know where we are anymore. Guys, this episode is going to air on Father's Day week, I believe, right? So, let's talk about Father's Day.
Hey, are you fucking kidding me?
What?
Can I tell everybody how I'm doing?
Didn't we just talk about that?
Nobody cares.
Nah, you had your shot. Didn't
I
you?
didn't say anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. You
did great.
Hey, listen, you did
You
so
did
much
great,
talking
kid.
about Lilo and Stitch. You know what? Sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, Corey, I apologize. The floor is yours, sir.
Don't worry, you started laughing when I was talking.
Yeah.
Stories. That's okay.
I'm glad Catherine flipped you off. I got nothing really.
Yeah.
Hey, somehow I managed to wear the exact same outfit as last week, though, so that's cool.
Nice.
Somehow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Coordination.
You
I don't
got to
know.
let your wife dress you, Corey. Let her pick your clothes out.
She's the only reason I have like real shorts, or else I'd just wear basketball shorts every day, all day, forever. I used to, and then she made me actually get a little bit of a wardrobe. Ridiculous.
I'm sorry,
dude.
Corey.
No, it sucks. It's like, just let me live. Why can't these people just let me live?
I don't know, man.
Anyway,
Anything else?
No, dude. No.
Well, Corey, the good news is I think I have you first on the dock to go first on our first topic. And we
I
can't
want
change
to.
that because we know that once it's on the Google Doc, it is set in stone, my friend. But no, this episode is going to air Father's Day week. And We did this a little bit last year, but we want to touch on Father's Day and a couple of kind of a fun talk about it, but also like we also want to get into some like dad stuff, recovery stuff, and how we show up as dads today. But first and foremost, let's start. What is everybody's plans for Father's Day? Corey, let's start with you.
I think I'm just gonna listen tonight, Sean. Thanks.
I'll end with this.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even have any. I don't. I'm definitely not shaming anybody whatsoever, or belittling at all. But I don't put much into Father's Day for myself, at least. You know what I mean? Like I don't care. We'll spend the day together just like we do every Sunday.
So let me ask you this question: If you could plan your ultimate Father's Day, what would it be?
Being as far as humanly possible away from my kids. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Thanks for keeping it real.
That brings me to a good point that I want to talk juxtapose that.
That was a good one, dude.
Yeah.
I really no. In all seriousness,
Everyone here
really
thought that.
I really don't know. Like I just like to chill and like maybe have a decent dinner. I don't even have to go out. I really don't have a perfect
Just
like
decent.
scenario.
It doesn't even have to be great.
Yeah, it's just dude. I've eaten
a
some
filler.
bad shit in my life. So
He just
Love
wants
it.
the DoorDash guy not to knock on the door and just to leave it at the
Good
doorstep
luck.
and walk away.
yeah, please. Like last week, Bill, when you got that pizza delivered, unbelievable.
The pizza ended up being good. Though. I ate some more the next day of it. So
I
it was
mean,
good.
it must have been good if you're talking about it a week later. Jesus.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Anything else, Corey?
What were you
Off to
gonna
a
say?
start.
Something about
I was
perfect
expecting
Father's
like Dave Matthews at the Gorge and like
Yeah.
Philadelphia Eagles game.
It's in June, Sean. Do you know that it's
I'm
June?
just saying like stuff, a Philadelphia Phillies game, the Flyers to make the Stanley Cup.
Oh boy, no. Now you're
God,
wishing.
we're so far away from that, dude.
Nothing like that. All right, well
Man.
then I will. You feel free to jump back in anytime you want, Corey.
Yeah.
I'm kind of similar though. I'm the same way. Like I usually for Mother's Day, Father's Day, stuff like that. Like we definitely do dinner as a family at night. We go out. Usually we just let the kids pick the restaurant because they love doing that. Sophia loves Hudson's on the river down in downtown.
Mhm.
Crazy expensive, but it's good. It's solid. They do have a very nice crab rangoon dip. Like Greg, you would love this stuff. It's a cheesy crab rangoon dip. It's phenomenal. Like otherworldly. But
Not a fan. Not a fan of that place, Sean.
yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
fine.
call it out.
I don't
we're
mind
talking
it.
about the place under the bridge, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
used to be Pelican
Very,
Cafe.
very expensive. Yes.
Very expensive.
Beautiful.
The food is good.
Beautiful
not-
restaurant. Beautiful,
It's
like
typical South Florida tropical fare that's way overpriced.
Yeah.
But it's
Yes.
good. Don't get me wrong. But like I'm the kind of the same way. Like for me, I know this is gonna come as a big shock to everybody, but I would just love to play golf all day on Father's Day, which I kind of already do on Sundays. Not all day, but I play. Sundays is my main day to play. I take the girls to the babysitter. My dad watches them.
Sean,
my mom.
real quick, I know your girls are playing, so at what age is it that you're going to get out there with them and maybe
Well,
that's the Father's Day?
We
like,
actually,
get them
my
out
dad
there.
and I took both Sophia and Grace and played 9 holes on Friday with them.
That's awesome.
And I
Now,
will
that's a
say,
Father's Day.
Sophia is definitely coming along. She lasted about 6 holes and then she totally lost interest. But I was like betting her. I was like, all right, Sophia, if you get this, this 10-foot putt in the hole, I'll give you $1. And sure enough, dude, she sunk that fucking putt like right in front of my face. And then there was another hole. It was a par 3. And I was like, all right, Sophia, if you get this in the hole in 6 shots or less, I'll give you another $1. And she hit the first ball out of bounds and then proceeded to get it in the next 5 shots to win that $1. So like there's some, I mean, she still obviously is 8, hit a lot of bad shots and swung and missed a few times, but definitely coming along. And she seems to really like it. And like, I know the look when you hit a really good shot, how wonderful it feels. And she had that look a couple times, which was really cool. But anyways, so yeah, that was phenomenal. To spend it with my dad is really cool too. I do enjoy that stuff. But as far as like on a Sunday, so this year, and it coincides with Father's Day, but it's also like a pre-baby gift for me. I have planned, and I took the reins on this one, boys, and I did all the planning and all the details because I want this exactly the way I want this. But my mother-in-law is going to be here, as I mentioned last week on the podcast. Can't wait to see Lynn. She'll be here pretty much the entire month of June. So I wanted to plan this trip. I planned a golf trip with my dad and myself and 6 of my buddies. I tried to invite Corey, but he told me he didn't like me that much.
No, you didn't.
We're going over to Tampa to a place called Innisbrook.
Sorry, I didn't get invited.
A famous, pretty famous, at least in Florida goes, resort style golf destination. We're going Thursday through Sunday. We're playing a round on Thursday, 2 rounds on Friday, 2 rounds on Saturday, a round on Sunday morning. There's some great steakhouses and food. It's really just going to be like a crap ton of golf and eating and maybe a little sleep and like sleep in between. They do have like a bunch of pools and lazy rivers and water park. Like it's a cool resort. That if so, like some of our guys, like my dad's not going to play twice in one day, most likely. A couple of the other guys won't, so they'll go hang by the pool and relax and stuff. But it's truly just like for golf sickos only, and we got a great deal on it. Unbelievably nice accommodations. The rooms are super nice. They've got, this resort has literally everything. It's one of those typical Florida resorts that has just all kinds of stuff. It's such a big campus that they have a shuttle that can shuttle you around and all kinds of shops and spas. So I'm stoked about that. But the main reason I planned it for that weekend, yes, it was Father's Day and we got a good deal, but I knew my mother-in-law was going to be here and I wanted to make sure Catherine had help with the kids, and she's going to be pretty pregnant by then. She already is. So I'm stoked about that. And I don't do that every year by any means, by any stretch of the imagination. I do not plan a trip like this on Father's Day. This just so happened to fall into this one. So I'm pumped.
Very, very strategic, Sean. That's why you're getting the middle finger.
I'm pumped. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Going out of town for Father's Day, huh?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Very.
The kids will make cards and stuff and all of that.
I would never get away with this, Sean. Just so you know.
Oh, what was the word he used last week? The fake word. It was very
seduceful.
yeah, very seduceful move there, Sean.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm good. Like you though, Corey. I don't need a lot. Like I don't need fancy. Like don't spend a bunch of money on me. Like
I figured it out, Sean. I figured out what I really like on Father's Day, and this is gonna sound absolutely terrible, but like, I really like to be left the hell alone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not as in like we can't go do things as a family, and like I love hanging out with my kids and stuff, whatever. But like, it's the one day that, and I don't. She's good about it, but it's the one day that I will not hear about something that I forgot to do. So I want to be completely left the hell alone as far as regular responsibilities.
Greg, what about you, Greg? I know you come at this from a different
simple
angle.
Man, fellas. What I'm hoping for is to wake up, get a real nice workout in before leaving the bedroom. Okay? I want to
My man.
pound close to a pot of coffee. Maybe a couple eggs, okay, and then I want to use that fuel of hate and anger and regret and take it to the actual gym and get my second workout of the day in, and then
First one's just cardio.
Yep. Well, we call it push. Yep, push. Right, and then yeah, we go and we come back from second workout. Maybe get in a third workout, maybe a nice hike, maybe something on the grill, something on the grill for lunch, dinner, whatever. My dad's not here anymore. My stepdad and mom will be traveling out west on the day before. So maybe we'll do a little something for him before he leaves. And so I don't know, man. I don't know what we got planned. Maybe I'll just end up going and helping my girlfriend's dad with yard work, or maybe we'll take him out to dinner or something like that. I have no idea, but yeah,
little Bed Bath and Beyond. I don't know if we'll have enough time.
We'll have enough time. So yeah,
I think you brought up a cool point. Like, what do we do for our dads, right? Or are those father figures, like you said, your girlfriend's dad? Like, I'm sure he appreciates the hell out of that, helping it with the yard work, or he might be like, get this fucking guy out of here. Let me do my yard work in peace.
Dude,
He doesn't know how to mow a lawn.
gene,
Okay.
right, dude. Dermot don't play when it comes to his yard
That's his
work,
name,
dude.
Dermot.
Oh yeah.
Shout out to
He's an
Daddy Dermot.
He's a G.
Daddy D. Very good.
Daddy D.
Daddy D. Bill, what about you? What's your ideal Father's Day, or what do you have planned for this Father's Day?
All right, so I don't have anything really planned, right? Let's see. So for me,
Bill wants to face a Reese's peanut butter pie like he did. Remember that?
I haven't had PSA. I haven't had a Reese's peanut butter product in 4 months
since shit got out of hand last time.
Shit got out of hand. That's right.
RFK doesn't like him.
RFK,
like RFK and the beef.
only
tallow.
organic peanut butter and chocolate.
Only tallow.
Beef tallow.
The peanuts come from China.
So for me, honestly, this isn't for this year, but for next year, I would hope, and I don't know how that would all work out, that I have like a family under my roof. You know what I mean? In some capacity, like with my kids and, with my daughter and just whatever situation. But, I kind of miss that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not in that situation. And, like the holidays and birthdays, like I'm great at blocking everything out, but during those courses of time or whenever I kind of wish I had that, like those are the times which it feels nice to, whatever, people to just think about you a little bit and consider you. So that's one of my personal goals in my heart is to have that probably by next, I'm not putting a time frame on it, but by next year, hopefully, to have an assembled family under one roof. So we can timestamp it and come back and see how that works out. But
let's timestamp it. I mean, you can just go to China right now, Bill, or Russia, and you could get that family.
This is how you get flipped off by your wife.
This is how you get flipped off.
And
just kidding, everybody.
So no, but seriously, that to me is something not to take for granted, guys, because it's important, I think, in the core of everybody. So also beyond that, going to Universal with my daughter, and I'm not doing it this year, but if I could just pick, like I had such a good time last time I was at Universal with her because she's little and she rides all the big roller coasters, and it's just hilarious, because she just. It's fearless. Nice to see your kid get fearless and get on there and give it a try. So, yeah, maybe next year or something like that. But over the summer, I'm sure we'll go there to Universal at some point. So, I enjoy roller coasters. She enjoys roller coasters. I don't think she'd go great white shark diving with me in a tank or in a cage yet. So, I'll save that one for later. But yeah, I think the most important thing is just. For me, having the quality time and the conversation at some point in the day with my daughter and like that one conversation you have with your kids and you're like, that was great. Like that felt great. That thing is priceless. So,
yeah, I agree. And that's a good point. Like, I think not on purpose. I think sometimes I probably do take that for granted, right? The assembled family, like you said, and all that. And maybe not for granted, but I don't, Bill, you have such an experience kind of on both sides of that, right? And from not having Avia here for the first few years of her life and having to travel 8 hours every time you wanted to visit her to having her, you know what I mean? And then obviously with other stuff in your life. And I think, like I said, Corey and I come at it from a similar standpoint. And then Greg, even you, like not having any official kids that we know of, ladies. You can reach out to him and DM him though if you need a paternity suit going on or anything. But I think it's just a kind of an interesting thing, and it brings me to kind of the next thing I want to talk about, which I don't want to get too serious and too sappy with this, but I do believe it is a very important thing about fatherhood in recovery, and if not specific blood relative fatherhood, but in Greg's point, whether Greg likes it or not, and I know Greg assumes responsibility and takes pride in this, but is that he is a male father figure, role model type for his girlfriend's son. So I want to talk about that a little bit and how important that is. And Greg, I'd like to kind of just kick that to you and just how you use the principles of recovery and the things we've learned to be a good role model for Peyton. When you're not, by the way, how is his week-old injury of getting hit in the face with a baseball bat?
He's healing up just fine. Like I said, took it like a champ. So
That's good.
Hopefully it doesn't look like it happened yesterday, dude.
Very good.
No, I love the topic, and I do just want to say that I am only a role model. Or actually, you know what? It was funny. I'll put it as I put it in the ER the other day when we were in there with him. But you know, we walked him into the ER, and they're in the little triage room, and the nurse is getting all the information, and he turns to Lauren and I goes, "So you're mom and dad, right?" And she's like, "Well, I'm mom." And then it was like one of those weird things,
Well,
like,
who are you?
What do I say here type deal, and it was just, you know, typical Greg shit. But like right off the top of my head, I'm like, I'm just the stepdad in training. So
That's good, though.
You could have been like, does he have red hair? You blind fuck.
That's why she doesn't want any more.
That's
kids.
why nurses hate you.
That's why she
Corey.
doesn't, because she's terrified that one will come out all gingered up. You know what I'm saying? So she
That's
don't
why
want
No
nurses hate you,
soul.
Corey.
There's no soul.
But I will say that there's only two reasons why I get to be a role model, and first and foremost is because she allows me to do that, right? And like
Yeah.
that is her son,
Yeah.
and
All
but
kidding aside,
she's allowed me to be what I can be for him, you know, which is awesome, and he has accepted me as that, you know, which is so cool. And yes, and it's because of my recovery, man. Like, you know, because I am not the responsible, caring, loving individual without that. So it is a tough road at times, and it's just because like I have to know my boundaries. I have to know where my line ends and hers begins. I take a lot of my cues from her on what to do and not do in certain situations, and then the rest, honestly, like I look at the three of you. I look at our good friend Danny P, who
Shout out to Danny P.
you
and
know,
the Yukon Huskies.
yeah, and he's a phenomenal dad, you know.
He's a great
as are the
example.
three of you guys, you know what I'm saying? So I take a lot of my cues from what I see in the real world and what I see you guys doing in your own lives, and I just try to bring that into the household the best I can. I fall short of that ideal at times, you know, and I have at times like had to check myself. Am I too OCD about certain stuff because I've been used to living my life a certain kind of way, and I have my order and my means of doing things, and I have my routine and stuff like that. And of course, when you're dealing with kids, like your routine it means only so much, because that thing will get thrown for a loop every 2 seconds, and you just
Gotta
have to
train
go
'em.
with the punches and
Gotta train
adjust it, you know. But you know, it's been cool, and like I said, when I fall short of all that, you know, I do my best. I can think of one instance where, you know, it was over something so dumb, but you know, I was trying to set a good example, and I said it completely the wrong way, and I raised my voice, and I did not look like an adult in that moment. I looked like a kid arguing with a kid, right? And then I had to make that right, and I had to, you know, go sit with him in his room and give him a hug and tell him I love him, and tell him that, you know, that I was sorry for raising my voice at him like that, because that's the last thing I want. I've been that kid in situations where my mom's boyfriend resented me or didn't like me or always yelled at me or whatever the case may be, and I remember having that resentment back towards that individual, and that's not what I want. You know, what I want to do is to be a good role model, to help where and when I can teach this young man how to be a man, you know, at some point in his life, you know, and that's, again, all if he'll let me, you know. But I just, as far as my recovery and stuff like that is concerned, I try to my best to, like, all the principles and stuff that I learned, I try to live that in the household as well, you know. And when, again, big recovery thing, but when when we fall short of that ideal, we make up for it right away. We don't let it sit around. We don't let it linger. We don't let resentments develop. So we boom, like let's deal with this and let's figure this out. So
Sean, you're gonna want to unmute your mic. Unreal.
My apologies. Corey, what about you? What makes, in your mind, a good father? How do you use the program and recovery to be a good father? And you can deprecate yourself all you want, but I know you're a good dad.
Yeah. Well, first off, I want to say, like, Greg, dude, you said it all perfectly, and but I just want to tell you, you got like the hardest job on earth, dude. I think so anyway. I think
Stepdaddyhood.
dude, a good step parent, even if you're like a decent person and stuff, like it's a whole nother thing, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, there's times where I discipline my kids and I'm getting looks from Gabby, and it's like, she's like, really? Like, you didn't have to go there yet, you know? It's like, and like, she may be right or whatever, but then like add in, you know, being a step parent, it's a whole other layer. And I had a couple step parents. So with that, one guy that I have to mention right now before, so I don't forget, he was my stepfather from probably age 4 to age 13 legally. But we kept in touch after that. And I went to visit him a few times. He stayed in Tennessee when him and my mom divorced. Anyway, his name was Dennis. He passed away in 2020, which to add on to last week's episode, 2020 was like the worst year literally ever in existence. But not only for COVID, but like several deaths, and he was one of them. That sucked. Nicest dude on the planet. He wouldn't harm a fly. He's just somebody that you wanted to emulate for sure. It was very fortunate with him, and like I was very fortunate in the fact that like I also like he was never my dad. I called him Pop because he was my stepfather. But like I had my dad, who you all have met, who was very much more than present and a great dad and everything. So I got real lucky in that scenario. Unfortunately, my mom and my stepfather, they didn't stay married. Well, fortunately, unfortunately, depends how you look at it. But anyway, yeah, we kept in touch over the years, and he was a great man. That being said, like, dude, being a father, even in recovery where we have principles to live by and all this stuff, dude, I've told my dad this personally, like, man, I feel most days I'm not even getting close to like being half the good as dad that he was and is, or or half as good a person as my pop was. Just like, you know, what's funny? Like, what's funny is like I can't remember a time. Speaking about my dad specifically, I can't remember a time that he absolutely lost his shit on me. I can't remember a time that he did that. I knew not to screw with him, right? I knew my limits. I knew not to cross them with him. Aside from when I got older and got into drug addiction and stuff, we had a bout or two, but when I was younger, dude, like, which it just blows my mind because like when we're out and about and like Noah starts flipping out, like I start losing my patience, right? And I'm like, or Lucy, like, or both of them together, or they're like antagonizing each other, and it's just become a shit show. Like I'm losing my patience. I'm not making a scene or nothing in public, but like, you know what I mean? Like, or at home, whatever, it doesn't matter. I literally don't remember a time. My dad was always very patient, got his point across, whatever. I don't know, dude. It's a superpower, I think. And I'm glad I feel that way though. You know what I mean? Like I'm glad I can see that as a 29-year-old man today, how fortunate I was to have that my entire life, right? But I don't know. I mean, I feel the same way about my wife. Like I feel like, I mean, you said like I can like deprecate. What the fuck does that mean? Deprecate?
Self-deprecation, like make fun of yourself.
That's not like feces or anything.
No.
It comes from the root word depreciate.
You're thinking of the word defecate.
Defecate.
Yeah, defecate has to do with feces. Yes, thank you,
Right,
Bill, and producer Janine put that in the thread.
All right, so I won't defecate myself. but yeah, I feel the same way about my wife. Like, I feel like she's like a great parent. I don't think I'm a bad parent. I don't want to sit here and throw a pity party, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I have so many examples around me, and you guys too. You guys are great examples too, that I could strive to be like when it comes to. I mean, Sean, I've always kind of admired the way you handle your kids, like with not difficult, but like, you know, when it's like time to be like, hey, rein it in, you know, like you've always had a very good way of doing that, no matter what situation you're in with your kids. I'm not that graceful, and if I tried, my kids freaking laugh at me, I think. So I don't know, man. I haven't mastered this. I'll close with this. I too, like Sean, you said it about you said it in reference to something Bill said about like taking this for granted, about having this family and stuff. And I definitely go through most every day blind to many of my blessings. That's for sure. However, dude, I think it might be almost every night, whether it's getting them in bed,
Yep.
or a lot of times they'll go to bed and then at 11 p.m. they'll sneak in our room and jump in our bed or whatever. And like, I don't even move them most of the time because like, I often like get a chance to like hold them and think like how fortunate, how blessed I am that like God chose me to be their parent specifically. Yep. I think about what they're going to do in life, you know, like all the, everything that lies ahead, you know, how, and I almost always, I sincerely mean this, like it's been very, very consistent, almost always in those moments to say a prayer. Like one's kind of selfish, one part of it's kind of selfish. I often pray like, God, please keep me around for a long time for them.
Yeah. I think that's selfish in the appropriate way though. Right.
I mean, it's hard to say like asking God to keep you alive is selfish, I guess, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, I often say that prayer because like it's a fear of mine, like leaving them too early. I don't know why, it just is. And man, I also ask God like literally just about every night.
Yeah.
God, help me provide for them, like everything they need. I want to give them everything you think they need. I want to be able to give them that. So,
yep.
Fatherhood's deep, man. I mean, motherhood is too. We didn't do a Mother's Day episode, but revert back to last year's, I guess. But it's deep, you know. So,
yeah, Corey, mine's in the morning. You're talking like at night. I have moments in the morning when they just are first waking up. They're just like still sleepy and tired, and they come
nice.
You know, they'll come climb into bed in the morning with us, or you know, I'll sit on the couch with them. I don't know. There's something about it that, but I hear you, and I appreciate your kind words. I was raised like, and I'm not throwing shade on anyone if you do spank your children or hit your children. I mean, I guess to a certain point you shouldn't hit your children, but I wasn't raised that way. Like my mom never spanked or hit me. She did once. She did spank me once with an empty applesauce jar.
Last week.
She does not remember
she
that.
Spanked you with an empty applesauce jar?
Yeah. So this is actually a good story.
So it didn't
I was
break or what?
No. It was like one of those old school, like thick ass glass, whatever the name brand is, the big, like 20-ounce glass bottle. It was completely cleaned out and washed out and like dry. And she was like using it for something else, but it didn't have anything in it. So to your point, Corey, about like the kids antagonizing each other, I don't have any siblings, but my mom's best friend was a lady named BJ Davy growing up. And BJ had a daughter named Susie, and Susie was, I want to say like 3 or 4 years older than me. And we were very close. And we were going from Virginia where we lived to my cousin's house in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, Nags Head area. And shout out to the Wright brothers. And we were on like the back roads we used to take. And I remember vividly, I was being a complete asshole to Susie. Like I was sitting in the back seat right behind her. She was in the front, and I was just like whatever. And she kept telling me to stop. And my mom kept telling me to stop, and I wouldn't stop. I was like 8 years old. I was just being a little brat. and my mom pulled the car over, and I can still see it. There was like a brown grocery bag or something in the back seat with stuff in it, stuff she was obviously bringing to my cousin's house in Kitty Hawk. And there was an empty glass, cleaned out, dried out applesauce jar. And she opened that bad boy up, stuck her hand in there, and spanked me with it a few times. She does not remember that story. And like, I've tried, like, in all seriousness, I've tried to be like, am I making that up? But like, I vividly remember this. Anyways, I digress. Suzanne is a great mother. And for the most part, she never hit me growing up. I did get smacked backhanded a few times later in life when I was in my addiction and being a complete a-hole. She did try to knee me in the balls one time, but I saw it coming and I got out of the way. But so I don't hit our kid. Like, I remember vividly getting Sophia. She was like a year and change old. She was at the neighbor's house, our next door neighbor, who was our landlord and good friend at our old house. And she was throwing a fit. She didn't want to leave. And she like hit me. Like, I picked her up and she was like, no. And I remember smacking her like in the head back. And in that moment, I was like, oh my God, like, I'm mad at her for hitting me. So what's my response?
Right.
Hit her back. It didn't make any sense to me. That was like my aha moment. And so that's just something. So when it comes to disciplining them, Corey, I have raised my voice so loud to them sometimes where I'm like a screaming maniac because I don't hit them. And that's like the only thing I have. You know what I mean? I have since kind of perfected the low, deep, like Sophia Louise, angry dad voice that I think they're more scared of. But there were multiple times earlier in their lives where I lost my crap on them, screaming like a maniac. One time I was screaming at them, and right when I was screaming at him, my next door neighbor knocked on the door for something, and I was like, "Oh, I was mortified, dude, mortified." Like, and honestly, it was that point that I really started to use the tools of our program, like in prayer. I know this.
He calls Monday morning. He gets Sean on the line. He's trying to report Sean.
You should have opened the door and screamed at him.
What do you want?
Hey, asshole. You ever heard of a telephone?
Yeah. He just wanted to borrow some sugar. But I like remember thinking like, I gotta, like, this is not good. I don't want my children to be, I want them to have a healthy fear of me, right? A healthy respect. And I think for the most part they do. But I don't want them to be like, I could see it. And then the few times after that I like kind of started to raise my voice, I could see it in their faces again. And I don't want to be that guy. And I'll proudly say that I've definitely gotten angry at them and I've definitely raised my voice, but not to that level, not that screaming maniac level in a very, very long time. And it was something that I truly had to give over to God and pray on and do some inner work on. So thank you, Corey. And I've worked on it. I also admire you and Gabby for I admire all you guys really and truly. You know, Bill, I know I want to get to you next. You're gonna, be the backstop on this conversation. But telling my kids I'm proud of them and that they're beautiful and that they're funny and that they're nice. Like every night before bed, I just whisper in their ear as I'm kissing them. It's like, I'm really proud of you. You know, I'm proud of you. I joke with them like, Grace, you're the coolest 5-year-old I know, or something like that. She's like, So I think stuff like that's important. And we had a learning experience the other day. Sophia was at a friend's house. This was yesterday. And I was really proud of her because she was at a friend's house and then they were both, her and the friend that lived right around the corner. They were going to come back here and play for a couple hours. This friend is one of Sophia's best friends. She's a sweet, sweet girl. One of my favorite of my daughter's friends, but she's a little nervous around like other kids, right? So playing out in the neighborhood is not her forte. She would much rather be here at our house playing inside with just Sophia or vice versa at her house. And the plan was to play over there at her house and then come back over here. Their dad walked the two of them around the corner. Sophia saw her friends out in the neighborhood when she was coming back to our house. And she more or less was like, told the girl, like, I really want to go outside and play with my friends. You know what I mean? Kind of, when the plan was, and the little girl was like, oh, it's okay. I'll go home and play with my puppy. Cause she did just get a new puppy. So like the dad kind of told me that and I kind of thought so. And then the mom texted was like, hey, no big deal. But just so you know, and I won't use her name, but like so and so was a little upset, and Sophia and so I had a talk with Sophia, and I was like, Sophia, like, tell me exactly what happened. Tell me what, and I said, did you tell her to go home? She goes, no, I didn't tell her to go home, but I did see my friends, and I did kind of say to her, like, I really want to go outside. And she kind of got the hint and stuff. And I said, so I made Sophia call her and apologize to her, and basically apologize for like going back on the plan. Like the plan was she was going to come over here and play. And she also apologized and said, like, next time I want you to come out, like, play with us outside. And if you say no, you don't want to, then I'm I had plans with you first. So there was just a learning experience for Sophia. The mom was really grateful. She was here's the great thing about recovery principles is when you can admit you're wrong and own up to these things, most normal people are like, wow, thank you so much. I didn't expect that's awesome. And the little girl and Sophia spoke on the phone. So that's a very long-winded way of saying that's what I love about fatherhood. I love being able to teach those lessons. I love being able to set that example because we do it for the people we mentor, right? And the people in our recovery groups. Who the hell deserves it more than our kids and our family, And I'll end with this, and I want to kick it to Bill. Somebody asked me the other day what the one thing I'm looking forward to the most about having a son, having a little boy. And I know this is going to sound super cheesy, guys, but I'm a bit of a cheese ball, and me. This is very sincere, and I truly mean this from the bottom of my heart. I can't wait to teach him how to treat women properly and like respect women and like be and not just women, but people, and to be a good man and to be polite and kind, stick up for those that are less fortunate, that whole thing. Like, I can't wait to do that because I'm doing that with girls. Can't wait to do it with a boy.
Starts with his mother, man. Starts with his mother.
Yeah. Bill, your turn, bud. Thank you for being so patient.
No, you guys did great. I really appreciate it. All you guys opening up. And well, let's see, a couple of things. Well, definitely. So growing up with my grandma, I was a rather frustrating kid, and she definitely whooped my ass. And I mean, whooped my ass with a belt, with the sticks. I remember the wooden spoon broke one time, so she made me go get a stick. And I mean, there were other family members teaming up, but I deserved it. I'm not saying I didn't deserve it.
But pick your switch was the worst though, where you had to pick the instrument of your own undoing.
She's like, there's not a big enough knot on that one, buddy. Go get another one. And you'd have to pretend like it hurt, like like quit faking, I'm gonna beat you. But that's like, look. That's actually, I probably shouldn't even share that, but because she was like a saint and like an angel in my opinion, like this woman prayed all the time. Could you imagine like the stuff I put her through? And so that is one of my points to also, losing my parents at a young age. I think the biggest marker is, they say, a fool doesn't learn from his mistakes. Smart person learns from their own mistakes. A wise person learns from others' mistakes. And learning from those mistakes, like to me, when I see my daughter, or I had the stepson as well, and I still do, but learning how did I feel when I was treated this way, not passing on the generational trauma of that. And to me, that was hugely important in my markers as a parent. I think me personally, so first of all, I am a stepfather still, in a way, right? But I'm not currently wrapped up with my stepson under the same roof. However, I did the stepson thing for 8 years, from when he was 4 to about like the same markers that Corey said, 4 to like 12. And man, it was an honor, and it's not easy. But once I broke that barrier where there was that full trust there, and he gave me kind of creative control of being the father. It was amazing. It was an amazing experience, and I'm always be there for him. And but it wasn't easy. And then also, I don't know if it was the fact that I had to chase and fight like hell for my daughter. I had to go up and down the Eastern Seaboard to get her, and finally it all got figured out to where it is now, which is a beautiful situation. I've never yelled at either of them, really. I've never like gone over the top. I could tomorrow morning, but I've never done that. I've never even thought about striking or anything like that to that effect. I've learned the maybe I learned it running a halfway house for 2 years, but I learned the real powerful effect of just saying something real serious to someone, and with just that look in your eye, like
Yeah.
I'm a little crazy, so don't tempt me.
That's an art form, that look and that tone.
It really is, and you have to actually evolve it because they catch on to the pattern. So you have to kind of you maybe shake something a little bit or whatever.
You
know, but
gotta get a real good Bane impression. If you can nail that, dude, you'll scare the living shit.
that might be the full like level 100. Like so yeah, like I'd say, man, it's been a challenge. I mean, being a single father with no family in Florida is not easy. Thank God, when I'm really in a pinch, I can call guys like Sean and Corey and but the majority of the time it's just me, and it's hard. I'm trying to take a business off, and this entire thing about the business, I'm looking at this like I'm building my daughter's empire. I'm building a legacy that something my daughter can be proud of that I want to hand to her one day. But at the same time, I'm taking monumental risks and trying to balance being a father on my own and looking at her and I've been a little shorter on time and this and that. But I'll say this, like I don't like doing this. I'm not the most outside person, but with her, I go out with her every week. We go somewhere, like every single week, almost every day we do something. You know what I mean? In fact, today she's like, "What are we doing today?" I said, "Dad's resting all day," because like I've done like 3 weeks straight of wall to wall, and she just kind of like, what do you mean? So to me that was good though, because it means usually we are doing something. So I mean, fatherhood is a challenge, but it's a privilege in itself, because usually when I'm overreacting or freaking out, it's the same thing as recovery. It's usually something on the inside. My one is like I feel disrespected. If I feel disrespected by my daughter, I get all like da da da. But it's really something internal. And recovery has taught me the best thing that I've gotten from recovery and being a fatherhood is my kids. Period. However, my daughter's organic relationship with God that she didn't have when I started getting her full time like she has today. Like she has a genuine, actual relationship with God, and like I don't have to push her. As a child, my grandparents would be like, "Go, you got to pray, you got to do it." I don't have to push her at all. I don't know where that comes from. Obviously, not me. Actually, I do know it's God, but that is the most beautiful part of my story as of today. So, salute to all you guys, though. All of us have been through various things, and we do the best we can. And our kids. Another thing, none of our kids here, hopefully, will ever see us drunk or high. And that is amazing.
Well,
That's
Corey,
well, weed doesn't count, so none of our kids will see us on
Text,
anything.
methadone.
But no, that's a great.
Seriously, salute to
that's a great
everybody.
point, Phil.
I mean,
You're right.
Dude, well, and how many and it's not shaming anybody at all, because addiction's addiction. We've made that clear in the past 69 weeks or whatever the hell. But
This 69.
but I think this is.
This should have been the
69,
sex episode. I'm sorry. Go ahead. But
It should have been.
Oh, it should have been. You're right.
I think this is 16. It's 69 or 70.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, you're right. It's 69.
Oh, damn it. All right. Anyway,
We missed
Like
that one. We missed that one, guys.
how many guys have we mentored with kids that have those stories? I've heard some doozies, and it's like, I am
You're
like
absolutely
humbly grateful that is not my situation for today,
Yep.
So
You're absolutely right. And we'll close up with this, and anybody else has any final thoughts. But when I was in school getting my graduate degree, I studied a lot of, my degree surrounded a lot of classes that had to do with like indigenous cultures and Native American cultures and kind of stuff like that. And the Navajo, which, guys, the Navajo low key were like way ahead of their time and way ahead of us when it comes to like social justice and their own community justice system and all that. But there's a quote from one of their leaders that I'll never forget about the children of their tribe. And it was basically, I'll paraphrase it, but it was essentially like, look at these children. They're not hungry and they're smiling. And like, that's it. Like they're not hungry. They're physically okay. And they are smiling, meaning they're happy. And like, that's like all, as a parent, like that's all we really want. Right. I just want my kids to be happy. I know they're going to go through ups and downs, but I just want them to be happy. And we've all been given a second chance to live in our recovery. And like, it's up to us to portray that outward expression of that zest for life to our children and anyone really, but especially our children. So very good.
Maggie touched on last week about another thing is the ability to be there for our kids in really tumultuous times. We want them to be happy. We can't guarantee it. So
Yep.
I think that is important as well.
Yeah.
That's what I'm not looking forward to is like the years where I started going off the rails. Like let's pray to God that it ain't that bad. But just like right now, I think when we get there, we're gonna look back and go, "Damn, that shit was easy." You know what I mean?
Probably.
Like,
Yep.
But
Teenage years, yeah. Probably.
I think mentally it is going to be more stressful, but also it's like the pink cloud. Like you're going to fall out the pink cloud. I try not to buy into it because people are always saying to me like about my daughter, like,
Same.
"Oh, give it 4 years, give it this
Yep.
that." No, you give it 4 years. I'm not giving it
Right.
anything.
And
I'll take it one day at a time.
I truly believe that because of the way we live our current lives and the
Right.
principles and the tools, that I can show up for her and interact with my kids in those, if those situations do arise, maybe in a different way or maybe in a more productive way or whatever. It doesn't mean I won't make a mistake by any means or lose my shit. I just mean I like to think that. And maybe that's naive, but you know what? Oh, well, I don't care. That's the way I'm going to live it.
we'll see how it plays out. We'll enjoy the ride, right?
So I'm sending them off to Jamaica as soon as they misstep.
Oh,
I'm sending Noah to your house, dude. Hey,
Boys and girls,
let me know when he's good.
lovely episode. Shout out to all the fathers, stepfathers, father-in-laws.
Mother's
Anyone.
doing it by themselves.
Mothers doing it by themselves. Absolutely. Shout out to our listeners. Please like, follow, and share on all socials at Trudge Report Pod. Email us at trudgereportpod@yahoo.com. Send in your mailbag requests for topics, questions, comments to any of these handles. Remember, we are all here if anyone wants to talk about recovery and our experiences, or if you are struggling with some form of addiction. Thank you again to Janine and Stella Mix Podcast Management. Good night, God bless, and may you trudge the road of happy destiny. We will see you next week.